Welcome to Codman Square Health Center's Community Nourishment Cooking Series. Today we are cooking at Codman's own teaching kitchen, which is located here in Codman Square at 450 Washington Street. We're in the same building as the Daily Table, which is an awesome non-profit grocery store, and HealthWorks Community Fitness. My name is Addie. I'm a graduate student studying nutrition and dietetics here in Boston, completing my fieldwork experience at Codman Square Health Center. Another fun fact about me, I actually grew up right here in Dorchester, and I know the community and the neighborhood very well. The purpose of these videos is to hopefully introduce new ingredients and flavors in a way that you may not have thought of before. At the end of each cooking demo, we will share the cost per serving so that you can see how this recipe could fit into your lifestyle and budget. Codman's nutrition department hopes that these videos will inspire you to start cooking and also to make something new and nourishing. For this recipe, we were able to get many of our ingredients right here next door to Codman's teaching kitchen at the Daily Table. We love to shop here because the Daily Table is local to our community, and it also provides a selection of high-quality fresh produce, meats, dairy, seafood, and grocery staples at prices available to everyone, including prices designed to fit a SNAP budget. Today we will be preparing the butternut squash macaroni and cheese. Not only is this recipe a creamy, yummy, and satisfying dish, it's also a great source of vitamin A from the butternut squash, as well as some calcium and potassium from our dairy. And these are great sources of calcium for bone health and are also involved in regulating kidney function. So we're going to start by heating a pot of salted water to a boil. Here's a cooking tip. Wait until the water starts to boil to add the salt. If you add the salt before, that can actually scar the bottom of the pan. So we're going to add the pasta. We're going to cook this pasta until it reaches an al dente texture. And this just means that it's going to take a little bit more effort to chew the pasta. The cooking time for this is about 8 to 10 minutes, but you also want to check the box for cooking times for pastas of your choice. So if you have any gluten allergies, you may substitute for brown rice pasta or chickpea pasta, but just make sure that you check the cooking time of those types of pasta. They tend to be a little bit shorter. You may also substitute the flour that we're using for a gluten-free flour, which we'll be using later in the recipe. While the pasta is cooking, we're going to heat a medium heavy bottom pot over medium heat. To this, we're going to be adding some olive oil and butter. We need the butter to help create that creamy sauce that we associate with macaroni and cheese, but we're adding the olive oil to help reduce some of the saturated fat content that you're going to find in the butter. So the olive oil will give us some heart-healthy monounsaturated fat, which is really good, and also helps lower your risk for cardiovascular diseases. This is a good source of monounsaturated fat, as well as a little bit of polyunsaturated fat. When the butter melts into the oil, we're going to add in the thyme and a grated onion. You want to cook the thyme and the grated onion in the butter for 1 to 2 minutes. So I'm going to let this melt. So I'm adding in the onion and thyme. And we're going to whisk in our flour and cook this for another 1 to 2 minutes. Now, I don't eat cheese myself. I have an issue with dairy, but there's some pretty good alternatives out there for vegans. I've heard that Follow Your Heart is a really great brand of vegan cheese, but you do want to be careful of the sodium content in a lot of those. They're very high in saturated fat and salt. So now we're going to be adding our butternut squash. I'm going to stir this. Everything smells delicious. And then you get some beautiful color in there as well from the butternut squash. So it actually looks a lot like real cheese. Gonna let that cook a little bit so it can get a little creamier. It smells really good. So next we're gonna add our chicken stock. And some milk. Now again, if you have an issue with dairy, you can substitute for coconut milk, any type of plant-based milk. That'll do the trick. I'm going to use the whisk because stuff is a little bit chunky. Yeah, that's how we want it. And I'm gonna throw in my black pepper and nutmeg. Just gonna stir this a little bit more. So now that we've mixed in our stock and our milk, we've brought it to a bubble. We're gonna remove the pan from heat, and we're gonna add in our cheeses, as well as some nutmeg and black pepper. And then we're gonna pour this over our macaroni. Got some cheddar here. And if you're feeling creative, you can probably experiment with some other types of cheeses. See how that comes out. Now I'm gonna add the Parmesan. Stir this. And you'll notice it start to thicken immediately. Want to let that melt. Stir it well. This smells amazing. I don't want it to be chunky, so I'm making sure I'm mixing it thoroughly. Unless you like chunky macaroni and cheese, no shame in that. And now that it's nice and thick, nutmeg and our black pepper. Those are the last two ingredients. Pour the macaroni into the pot. I think that'd be a better idea so we don't break the glass. Use my handy spoon to break it up a little bit. And I'm gonna put this in there. And mix it. Now we're going to plate it and serve. Just mix it well. That smells really good. And this recipe also serves 8 people and costs $1.08 per person. So I hope that we were able to introduce you to some new flavors and inspire you to experiment with this quick and nourishing recipe. For more recipes and videos, please check out Codman Square Health Center's nutrition website at codman.org under our health and wellness resources.